2:30, you are hanging in there. Some people have asked me, when are we going to be done here? By 4 o'clock, absolutely. Maybe a little earlier than 4 o'clock, so that's going to be good. Our two most popular workshops, the ones we run most often, are half-day workshops. We schedule 4 hours. They're typically done in 3.5 hours, just because twofold. One is people find it hard to book out a day for a training, and certainly 2 days is impossible. Secondly, we try and make our training quite intense. It's kind of that conversation we had before about both open, spacious and intense at the same time. So by half a day, lots of people are kind of done. You're probably feeling it yourself, which is, this has been fun, but gosh, I'm actually kind of feeling a bit tired now because I've been working hard all day, and you have. So what we're on to now is the challenge of keeping this stuff going, because here's, oh, I don't need that, I need this. Here's where we sit. You go back to work tomorrow. Yes. And what I'm hoping for lots of you is you've got this little flame of happiness and hope burning in your heart. You're like, I'm feeling optimistic, coaching is less weird than I thought it was, I feel like I could do it, I've got some powerful insights, I've got these awesome cards, I've got actions, I've got habits. But you know what's going to happen after just a week or two, the cold wind of reality blows through and you're left with this, right? Back practicing the same old stuff because we are wired to keep old habits, wired to keep doing the stuff that we've always done. It is difficult to have people even remember stuff that they've learned, harder still to have them create sustainable behavior change around that. So here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to gather up in groups. Let's do it in groups of 5 again. So there'll be 2 5s, 2 4s. So just cluster your chairs up, groups of 5s, groups of 4s, and I'll tell you what happens next. Here's your task. You'll notice a little green card coming in from this. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. I want you to come up with at least 10 reasons, 10 things, 10 reasons why you will not sustain and commit to the behavior change and the actions and the new tools that you've currently got that you've generated from being in this workshop with me. So 4 minutes. Between your little groups, at least 10 things that are going to get in the way of you putting this stuff into action. Your time starts now. 4 minutes, 10 things, go. That felt like a gap in the conversations. I'm going to jump in. Let's hear from some of the teams about some of the stuff that's going to get in the way. Give me 2 or 3 things quickly.
Falling into old habits.
Falling into old habits, very nice. What else? Overconfidence, yeah, this shouldn't be too difficult. Lack of confidence, this is too hard, perfect. You can go anywhere if you get a little swagger there, perfect. One other thing from this group? Forgetting some of this content, right? Because there's been a fair bit of content and you're like, I'm going to file the cards away somewhere really safe so I never have to look at them ever again. Perfect. How about over here, 1 or 2 things?
We talked about culture.
Yes.
So like company culture and trying to fit this into that.
Right, so company culture, or sometimes it's just your team culture as well, right? Your little subculture and all of that. So I think that's right. What else?
Shifting the priorities to put this sort of way of thinking into practice.
Got it. So make this important enough that you actually commit to practicing and building the habits and establishing that. I like all of that. How about over here? Anything to add?
Restraining our own advice monster.
Exactly, taming the crazy advice monster. That's perfect. And I love the metaphor you use, restraining, because it never actually goes away. You're just trying to keep it in its cage a little bit longer. Yeah, so that's perfect. So managing your advice monster, what else could you do? Or what else gets in the way?
Getting busy, being busy.
Yeah, the whole busyness thing. I mean, anybody not busy? No, I didn't think so. So you've got that to compete against. And final comments over here, what else might get in the way?
Accountability was raised.
Okay, lack of accountability. So there's nobody actually on your side making this happen. You're kind of on your own. Very nice. Anything else? Yeah, it's uncomfortable. I love that. Such a good insight. Okay.
This week's going to be great, next week's going to be great, and then you forget about it.
Right, exactly. So sustaining it beyond 10 days out that you'll remember vaguely this course. Jenna, did you have a thing to add?
We had just said like a bad attitude and frustration.
Got it. Yeah, perfect. So bad attitude and frustration. So that's perfect. I wanted you to figure out what the barriers are so that I set you up for the next conversation, which, by the way, is a really nice green card coaching conversation, should you want to be lazy, and it's to go this, so how can you keep this burning? Right? Here's your task. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I want you to come up with 12 good ideas. No, you know what? 4 minutes and 12 good ideas. No, what the hell? 5 minutes and 12 good ideas. How can you keep your commitment to change your behavior to be more coach-like? What do you need to help you with that? What are the ideas, the resources, the tools, the structures, the support that might be helpful for you? So again, in your clusters, the smart thing to do, somebody should be pulling out a green card and going, okay, what ideas do we already have? All right, what would be the easiest thing to do? What would be the fun thing to do? What would be the bold thing to do? So chance to practice that if you wish. 5 minutes, 12 ideas per group. Let's take it away. Go for it. Very nice. So let me tell you how this is going to roll. I'd like you to have page 3 of your worksheets available. And we're on the bottom half of page 3 of the worksheets. It's the sustainability section. We're going to hear the best 3 ideas from each group. You will see in the first column there, what do I call it? What ideas do you already have? Here's your task. You're looking for the very best 3 ideas for you to keep sustainability going from the brainstorm that your group and the broader group has had. So you can't do everything. And in fact, one of the worst things to do is try and do everything. So I just want you to cherry pick the 3 very best ideas you hear to go, that I can do, that feels useful, that's something I could commit to. So let's start with the back group first. Share what you think are the best 3 ideas you've come up with in terms of how do you keep this stuff burning?
I think our best was sharing with your team to go back and having accountability with your team, bringing it to them.
Brilliant. So sharing this with your team. Here's one of the things that happens with coaching. People go, right, I've got to go back to my team, but kind of keep it secret that I'm now coaching them. I'm going to be kind of like the wizard behind the curtain, and they'll never know what happened. It'll just miraculously change. And they know, because as soon as you come back and you go, and what else? They go, you've been on a course, haven't you? Okay. I'll just outweight you for a couple of weeks because I know that I'll grind you down over time. So rather than trying to trick them into being coached, enroll them to help you. Say to them, look, I want to be more coach-like. It's actually going to be better for you and better for me as well. I'm trying to manage my advice monster. Help me out with this. Here's how you could help me. It's a really powerful leadership stance to ask for help. If you want to go the next step, you're like, let me teach you what I've learned. I'm going to teach you one piece of coaching skills that I've learned in every team meeting once a week for the next 3 months or whatever it might be. But enroll them on your side rather than making them a victim of your training course. Yeah? Perfect. So I love that. That's a great one. One other good idea from here.
Oh yeah, you were saying something about like an advice monster jar. So whenever you're having a conversation, like if you rush to giving like advice, I don't know.
Perfect.
Put money in, or if you put in the ideas in the jar. You had something else on the ideas.
Yeah, I was just saying you could, instead of saying your advice out loud, you could actually write it down and put it in the jar, and at the end of the meeting, if you needed to, what else?
Nice. You're like, here's all my advice. Perfect. I love that. So one way of tracking the advice monster. So I'm so glad you said that because I forgot the cool thing that we've just developed that might be useful for this. So it's so new that it's not even on the slides. It is an iPhone app. It's only available on iPhone. It's called the Ask More. So if you ASKMORE, it's the best of Tinder meets the best of coaching. So what could possibly go wrong with that, right? So here's how it works. It's like a little purple square with a kind of a stylized A in it. Once you download it, you list the people on your team that you'd like to be more coach-like with. And then after you have a conversation with them, you swipe left if you gave them advice, and you swipe right if you stayed curious. And what it starts doing is it starts tracking how you're trending towards being more coach-like. So you have a little bar and it starts off in the middle, and if you're all advice all the time, it starts moving to the left, and if you balance it out, it starts moving to the right. So it's another tool to help you with some of this advice monster tracking. So only for iPhone at the moment, and it's so new, it's super secret. So secret that I don't even know it's there most of the time. So there for you to try if you'd like to do that. One other idea from this team?
I think our first one of just taping these straight to our desk, and so whenever.
Perfect. Yeah, tape it to your desk, photocopy them and carry them around in the folder you use to carry around things on, tattoo them onto your forearm. But there we go. But if you file the cards away, you never see them again. So there's all sorts of ways you can keep this relevant for you and in front of you, whatever works for you. So those are 3 great ideas. How about for this team over here? I know they've taken your 3 best ideas, but what are the other ideas that you've got?
One we had was to use in various contexts. So I think a lot of us here today were thinking in a professional context, but even I personally, like my birthday party, working through all the ring card to create some creativity
Nice.
and ideas.
Yeah, perfect.
That helps reinforce it.
These habits, these are tools that you can use in interaction in any human endeavor. So you don't just have to build a new habit with your team, it can be with your kid, with your partner, with your mum and dad, with your whoever really. So I love that, thinking of different options outside work. What else from this team?
Using the texts that we're going to get.
Yes.
And like being accountable to following through them.
Perfect.
Answering the questions and
Yeah.
keeping up with it.
With all of this stuff, it's so easy to go, yeah, I'll look at that later, and never quite getting to it. The texts, I mean, they're not long. They won't take you long. It's no more than 5 minutes a day at very most, 3 times a week. So we're talking a commitment of under 15 minutes per week to engage in the text. And the people that like them really like them, so really worth it. One other idea from this team?
Maybe a fun one, like I know there are like coaching meetups, so you can meet like-minded people, share struggles,
Yeah.
successes, and learn some new things.
Perfect. And in fact, just within this group here, people who've had the shared experience with you, maybe there are people here you'd like to connect with and go, actually, I liked you. Why don't we stay in touch so we can kind of find out how that went? How about over here? 1 or 2 ideas from this group?
We had, partner with a classmate was one.
Yeah, perfect. Partner with a classmate one. Spoiler alert, you will be partnering with a classmate in a moment or 2, yeah? So that's great.
I have a super bold one.
Oh, I like it. And I'm slightly scared because I know you, Chloe, so I'm nervous about that.
I could steal the content and make my own workshop.
That is a bold move.
I'm not going to do it. Don't worry.
So, I mean, in seriousness, the Coaching Habit book, which we got copies for you if you haven't got a copy yet, it's been a really big success of a book. It's sold about 400,000 copies so far over a couple of years. And we know there are lots of organizations who have built coaching programs based around the book, and that's awesome. So you're welcome to not exactly steal this content, but teach this content. You know, don't run this exact workshop, but definitely go out and teach it in a way that works for you, because I want this stuff to spread. So that's great. Is there one other burning idea on this team?
I guess a more benign version of stealing content would be actually repackaging it, maybe writing a blog post for your company, or
Nice.
sharing it via vlog for your team.
So we talked about teaching in person, but maybe there's opportunities to teach through other channels. Write a Medium post, write a blog post, do a video, a YouTube thing. Yeah, perfect. Which brings us to this team. I saved the best for last, so don't disappoint me. 2 or 3 great ideas.
Well, it kind of piggybacks off a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
but weaving it into kind of your other everyday like meetings or
Yeah.
professional development you're already doing.
Yep.
So what I've really kind of stuck in my head was when you do brainstorming meetings, which we do all the time, you're not booking 2 or 3 hours an afternoon, you're booking maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
So really using that in
I love that. You're like, we have to get 45 ideas in 30 minutes. Can you see how that completely changes the experience of the brainstorm immediately? Everybody's like, oh, panic! And you get to go and play with that and really generate energy around it. So I think that's fantastic. What else?
Video? Yeah. I was thinking of creating a video. I love the videos you have on the site. So
Yeah.
quick, short, funny ones. And just
Perfect.
spreading it.
I'm going to show you access to the videos that are on the side. Those of you who are like, what are you talking about? I'm going to show you how to get there. Fantastic. One final idea? Yeah, please.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Going back to the obvious would be to take these cards and kind of put them right near your desk, because I get a lot of phone calls that I could just use. I could
Yeah,
use
exactly.
a lot of these questions.
Perfect. Because on the phone is a really common way of coaching or being more coach-like. So it's like, is it right near, wherever I take my phone calls, is this right near there so I can just refer to them all the time? Lots of people do that. So my request for you, there's 12 at least really good ideas there, but I need you to pick your 3 favorite. And I need you to write it down in that 1, 2, 3 section on page 3. You might figure out which is the best kind of 1, 2, 3 combo for you. Committed to the texting. I'm going to teach at least one person on my team, and I'm committed to practice 1 or 2 of my very specific habits through accountability, whatever it might be for you. This is good. Just keep an eye out. I think lots of us are close to being done with our 3 ideas written down. That's lovely. So you've got your 3 ideas, your 3 commitments written down, which is fantastic. Here's my, but wait, there's more, sustainability package. So let me take you through the other ways we're helping you with the sustainability piece. The first is this texting piece. So there's the key phrase, great work, BOC. There are the phone numbers. You'll actually notice on that page 3 section, there's a place for you to write this stuff down. If you haven't signed up already, there's a place for you to write this stuff down. What I know to be true is this: if you don't sign up for this now, today, the odds of you signing up for it drop dramatically, precipitously. So I'd encourage you to see, I'm going to sign up for this before I walk out the door. Like I say, 2 to 3 texts per week for 108 days. They'll nudge you, they'll provoke you, they'll send you to videos. It's a fun thing. You don't have to do them all, but by staying engaged with them, it'll keep this stuff top of mind for you and will help you out. The second thing I want to talk to you about is this, the coaching boost. This is actually replicated. There's a little printout of this in your folder, so you can find the URL easily. It's a hidden but accessible page. So you don't need a password or a username or anything to get into that. And here there are probably something like 15 to 20 short videos reteaching some of the key content from the program, teaching it in different ways, downloads. If you love posters, you can download and what else posters and this poster and that poster. So there's a bunch of resources that are there. So it's worth poking around here. Has anybody actually already signed up for the texting thing? Did you get a message that says, oh, by the way, you should check out the coaching boost? Yeah, so we're already nudging you towards this through the texting process. So a kind of bonus resource for you if you would like it. The next thing I want to show you is this. So there is a copy of this book for you on the table, along with a copy of the Coaching Habit book if you don't have one already, or if you'd like a second one. This, I'm just opening it up. This is the first book I ever wrote. 2008, I think, so it's 10 years old. And I was inspired by one of those kids' books that have like a ballerina's legs and a soccer player's bodies, and you can kind of flip this stuff around and get different head, body, leg combinations, which I never really understood as a book. I was like, okay, so that's just weird. I don't get why that's a cool thing. But it was inspiration for this book. So here's how it works. It's like a green card coaching book. You bring a challenge to the book, whatever the challenge might be, one of your 3P challenges, and then you open the flip sections at some sort of combination that works for you. I think there's like 130,000 different combinations. And what you see is each one of these has a story, has a quote, and has a model, plus coaching questions to provoke you. And what it will do is it will help you generate new ideas and new possibilities, just as a self-guided, self-generating piece. So if you're feeling stuck, you just open the book, flip some stuff open, and it will provoke you to think differently about whatever the challenge is you have in mind. There's also a download, kind of an action worksheet. If you want to go to getunstuckandgetgoing.com, and the URL's here in the book as well, there's actually a worksheet, so it actually replicates just what we learned today. A bit of blue card coaching, what's the challenge? A bit of green card coaching, what are my ideas? A bit of red card coaching, what's my commitment to action around that? So a copy of the book, if you'd like it. You don't have to take one, because lots of us have too many books already, but if that feels useful for you, you're welcome to grab that. So the texting piece that we've got, the boost, the videos we've got, the book we've got. Here's the next thing I want to point you to, and it's the power of your manager to support you in this. It sounds obvious, but it's a massively underutilized resource in training in general. The research is clear. If your manager, your boss, is involved in asking you, hey, how did the training go? You're much more likely to follow up on this. So I want you not to wait for your boss to ask, but to seize the initiative around this. When we work with our clients, we actually give our clients pre-written emails so they can send it to both the boss and the participant so they can set up conversations with each other. But if you'll see on page 3 of the worksheet, on the right-hand corner, bottom right-hand corner, there's a what are you going to tell your boss about today's session? So I'm going to ask you these questions. I'd like you to write your answers down. First question is, what are you going to tell them about today? Write down 1 or 2 things that you want to go back to your boss and say, this is what today was like. You totally get to choose how specific you want to be. You can say, here's the 3 things that were amazing or what most useful. Here's the general vibe. Whatever you want to tell them about today. But engage her or him. The second question there is, what will you ask for? What support, what encouragement, what resources, what insight? Could be as simple as, ask me once a week how I'm doing with my coaching. Download the app and use the app to coach me. Go on this course yourself. Whatever you want. And then the final question there is, by when? When are you going to have this conversation? And of course, what most of us do is we go, what's the furthest off I could put a date that still feels reasonable to myself? So I'd encourage you to go, almost when in the next week am I going to have this conversation? Because if it goes a week, the window's pretty much closed. And then here's I'm sorry, just let a few people finish up. All right. Here's the final thing that I would point to as a resource to keep the sustainability going, and this is what Dan was pointing to, which is a partner from this workshop that you can use to kind of check in with each other. So here's what I want you to do. I'll explain what it involved exactly in a minute. I want you to find the best person in this room to be the accountability partner for you. Now there's some criteria you might use. You may go, this person who works in the same organization as I do, and there's a number of you who've come with a person from your organization that may be like perfect. Or you may be going, anybody but that person, okay? And that might be perfect as well. I don't mind, but I need you to go and find the perfect person for you, or the best person, or honestly, an adequate person for you to be an accountability partner. So get up, find that partner, sit down when you're ready to go, and I'll tell you what happens next. Find your partner. Love it. So, I'm seeing a couple of triads pairing up as accountability partners, so that's fine if you want to do that. You want to pull out your red card, because you're about to have a conversation with your partner. Okay, so a very quick tour of the red card. On one side, you'll see the new habit formula. We talked about that at the start of the day. It's the first chapter of the coaching habit book, and that's the chapter that goes into some more detail about what that's all about. But there's the habit formula for you if you want to remember that. Don't forget the habit formula. It's good for coaching skills. It's just good for life. Like anytime you want to build new habits to have a better life, this can help. But I want you to look at the Spark Action side. So this is basically how do you have a conversation that's a little crisper about accountability? Because Some organizations are great at this, but lots of organizations, they have meetings, they feel good, they feel productive, they feel exciting, and people wander off and they don't quite know what's happening or by when or what the expectations are, and disappointment happens as a result of that. So here are the 5 questions. So what are you going to do? By when? What does finished or success look like? I mean, how will you know if you've crossed the finish line or not? How will you let me know? And what, if anything, are the consequences you want to establish for not doing it? So that consequences question goes 2 ways. One is it can be, well, what would happen if I didn't do anything? Often there's nothing much changes. You're just like, I don't make progress, they don't make progress. But if you want to up the ante, you can kind of put some kind of skin in the game. Anything from like, if I don't do this, I will send you a $50 note. Or I will take you out to dinner at the most expensive restaurant in Toronto. I had one guy I coached for a while who ended up making a $2,000 donation to the Republican Party. He was a Democrat. He's very, very unhappy about that, but he broke his commitment and there was skin in the game and it cost him $2,000. So that was just a bad day for everybody involved there. So those are the questions. Now look, you've got a bunch of things that you can do. You've got the actions you may have written down, the habits you've generated, the various keep it going plans that you just generated right now, the conversation with your manager. But I want you to commit to the key thing. I want you to have a conversation with your partner about what are you up for. And the key outcome I want from this is clarity about the action and when will you check back with each other. When will you check back in? And it may be a phone call, it may be a coffee, it might be a hanging out in a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. But when will you reconnect to ask, hey, how's it going? Make sense? Let's say that the person with the longest hair, I know I've used this before, but I'm now running out of options. The person with the longest hair gets to ask the questions first. Shorter hair gets to answer them. You'll have about 5 minutes for this, so take it away. Beautiful. So it looked like there was some great and quite intense conversations going on there, which I love to see. What I'm hoping is you got clear on a key commitment. What I hope you got clear is when will we 2 or 3 meet again? So some of you may have even pulled out your gadgets and scheduled the call, the meetup, the date, the check-in with them. What I'm going to suggest is, and I don't have this written down for you, so if this is useful, you may want to capture it. I reckon when you meet, you need 15 minutes, no more, maybe even less, because you've just got 5 kind of questions to ask each other. So what did you try? What did you learn? What will you try next, if anything? How can I help? And when will we talk next? And to be clear, when you ask each other, when will we talk next? One answer is never. You're like, I don't want to do this accountability thing. It's not working for me. I didn't even want to pair up with you in the first place. This is like, it's just a bad thing getting worse. But what I'd encourage you to do, of course, is to say, this is somebody who's walked the same path as you, has the same language as you, has the same experience. This could be a really helpful person to say, if you're committed to be more coach-like, you've got somebody in your corner who can actually help you with that. So it's so tempting to kind of collude with the other person to opt out of this conversation. Maybe, okay, it's that day, but maybe if I don't call them and they don't call me, we can pretend this training never happened. Okay, secret safe with me. And I just encourage you, as much as you want, step up and go, I'd love to make this count. You've given me a day's investment of your time. Why not see if you can get that to pay off by actually shifting your behavior and becoming more coach-like? So that's it. That's also red card coaching. As far as we go with red card coaching, we don't spend a lot of time on it because it's the least behavior-driven one. It's about having the commitment to say, before we go, let's have some really quick conversations. What are you going to do? By when? How will you let me know? What does success look like? And what are the consequences of you not doing it? And you can feel how that really quickly sharpens up every commitment, every conversation. So here we are. There's the 3 coaching moments that you now really get. Blue card coaching, getting clear. Green card coaching, possibilities. Red card coaching, sparking action. And of course, what you need to know again is this is not linear. You kind of start in the middle, go, how can I help? Often you go to blue card coaching. I reckon that's your most typical place to start. But after you've done blue card coaching, you may be done. You're like, oh, you got it. You're excited. You want me to stop talking so you can go and act. And you're like, would it be useful if we did some thinking about action? No, I'm good. Fantastic. Would it be useful if we did some possibility stuff, have some ideas? No, I don't need that. I know what I need to do. Okay. Would it be useful if we did this? No. Just my work here is done. Let me go off and do it. So you get to pick and go where it's most useful. Sometimes you have things like you do blue card coaching. You're like, oh, we know what the real challenge is. You go to green card coaching, and actually what happens is you discover you didn't have the real challenge. And actually you end up going back and doing a little bit of blue card coaching to go, oh, we need to do a bit more work here before we progress around that. So just to say that this is a flexible process before you look to exit as fast as you can. So here's how we're going to wrap this up. With your partner, with your accountability buddy, or groups of 3 for those of you in groups of 3, we're actually going to do some a final coaching session. And I skipped this slide before, and I wish I hadn't, because it kind of explains why I've had you go, you have to follow the script, you can't add your own stuff, you've got to learn the experience of just asking the questions, because it really draws on this idea of deep practice. If you're looking for a good book on deep practice, there's a book called The Talent Code by Dan Coyle. Really, it's a good, fast read, and he talks about the way you elevate from good to really good is by deliberate practice, by deep practice. And his insight is you focus on small bits. If you're finding it hard, it means you're learning. You keep repeating it so you really get it into your bones. And you start noticing what works. And the coaching that I've been having you do today, I've been trying to frame as a deep practice experience. It's not trying to coach generally, it's blue card coaching, green card coaching, red card coaching, really crisp, really focused around that. But now what you're doing is you're going to get a chance to combine all 3 of these coaching cards. So you're going to have 10 minutes each to coach. Just 10 minutes. It's going to feel like a short time and a really long time at the same time. Okay? You're going to work with your partner. For the people who are in groups of 3, you're going to have 7 minutes each to coach. Okay? So it's just going to be slightly different. It's your final chance to get some real coaching. So pick the thing here that would be most powerful for you to get a little bit of coaching on. You've generated some great options. You've already used some of them. You might not yet have lent into the hardest, juiciest, most difficult, most entangled one. Maybe this is the place for that. And you're going to get some coaching from your partner. I think that's all I need to say. You're coaching about a real thing. Keep all 3 of the coaching cards out there. As the coach, your job is, stay curious as long as you can, but you've got tools now around blue card coaching, around green card coaching, around red card coaching if you want to go there. And that is, I think, all we need to do. I'll ding my bell at 10 minutes so you know when to swap over. If you get stuck, or you want to talk to me, just stick up your hand, I'll come around and I'll help as best I can. If you'd like a little more privacy in your conversation, feel free to spread out and fill up the room so you feel like you're in the best physical space. Anybody got any questions about what's going on? Should we say that the person who's going first is the obvious person to go first, to ask the questions first? Does that help? No, I don't know. It doesn't help. I know. Let's say that I'm so running out of...
Birthday closest to today.
Yes.
Say it again? The birthday closest to today.
Person with the birthday closest to today asks the questions first. Okay? Ask the questions first. So you now know who that is. So your first 10-minute coaching session starts now. Take it away. All right, so Perhaps for the last time today, you're going to look your partners in the eye and go, you are awesome and you're doing great. With gusto, I like it. High-fiving, yes. Last time through, you're combining all the bits and pieces, you're coaching for 10 minutes, actually it's more like 9 minutes for some of you, 6 minutes for others of you. What did you notice? What did you learn this final time through? Yeah, please, Dan.
I found it a lot more comfortable, a lot easier, and it was just looking at the cards. It didn't take as much scanning of the cards. It just
Right.
flowed a lot easier.
I'm going to bet that lots of you have already moved from consciously really incompetent to consciously incompetent, but in a better way. So yeah, it's like just 2 or 3 times through, you're already seeing the pattern, you're already seeing the payoff. So that's why we try and put so much practice into the day so that you see the progress and you're like, oh, I'm getting some reward from that. So thanks for that. What else? Yeah, Cheryl.
I just had this feeling of luxury when I was about to be the one who you're dealing with my stuff, thinking, oh, I get 10 whole minutes?
Exactly.
And she is going to help me on these breakthroughs. It was just this feeling of happiness and anticipation.
Fantastic. And you know, I'm just noticing myself how slightly weird it is to go, I'm going to give you 10 minutes. And I'm like, I feel quite anxious about 10 minutes. That feels such a long time now to give coaching. And that's actually very counter to actually how coaching shows up in the world, which is 10 minutes is no time at all. So fantastic. What else did you notice? What else did you learn the final time through, if anything? For you, Chloe.
As the person being coached, I realized this final time around that I was much quicker to get deeper into things.
Yeah.
So I can imagine even if this was like a weekly basis, that the first time would be like, I don't know how to break to these deeper levels.
Yeah.
And then going for it.
That's a brilliant comment from Chloe, because actually one of the benefits of this approach is you're training people to be more coachable. You're not trying to be tricky about it or elusive or magical about it. You want them to get what's going on. You want to be transparent about it. I've told this story a few times, but one of my all-time favorite coaching moments was with a guy who was a client, and then we did a train-the-trainer process with him, so he trained in this stuff and he got really good at it and became a master trainer for his company. And once his name's Michael as well. He calls me up and goes, all right, Michael, I need some coaching of this. Now, of course, you're just going to go, so what's the real challenge here for you? And actually, the real challenge for me here is blah, blah, blah. But then you just go, and what else? So actually the real challenge for me, but then you just go, do I need green card coaching? And actually, you then go, so what's the easy thing to do? And for like 12 minutes, he just monologued. And I just had the phone at the end, he's like, that's it, brilliant, I got the insight, fantastic, thank you. And basically hung up, and I was like, oh, call me, I don't know, coaching master. It's like this moment, I'm like, go on, grasshopper, go forth. It was fantastic. But he basically had taught himself how to be coached. And my job was just to hold the space for him, and he knew exactly what was happening. So I love your piece, which is like, the more you do this with your people, the more they'll go, oh, we're doing this thing, and this is useful, and I know how to play my role in this. Yeah, so that's really great. Any other final comments or thoughts? So here, I think, is the last action that I can think of, actually penultimate action. So in your folders, there's one bit of paper that you haven't yet looked at. On the left-hand side, it's a little scrap. It's just the evaluation sheet. It's really quick and easy. I think it's just two questions to circle a number on. Then there's an and what else question. What else do you want to tell us? The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you want to share with that. And of course, we love referrals. So if you've got somebody who you go, this person in this organization should know about it, you can either write it down on your slip, or you can just come and have a conversation with Peter right away, because he'd love to hear about that. But yeah, we'd appreciate any feedback you've got, any thoughts? Yeah, you can just leave them on the table, on your chair. There are copies of the books there, both Get Unstuck and Get Going. and The Coaching Habit if you'd like a copy of that and you haven't got one already, or if you have got one already and you're like, I'm going to get a second one before they all go. I'm happy to sign those books for you. My standard joke is the book becomes less valuable as soon as I sign it, but I'm happy to do that. I've got one final action. When people have finished their eval slips, I've got one final action and then we'll be done. So I can see most of you are close to being done. Some of you are just finishing up, which is perfect. So here's the very final action. I think we're all done. I'd like everybody to stand one final time, if you wouldn't mind. Nothing in your hands. Perfect. You can throw it on the floor or the chair. Standing one final time. Perfect. Yeah. So I hope it's been a good day. I've loved doing this. Like I say, it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've done this, so it's been quite exciting to go, what do I say next? Because I can't remember, so it's been great to kind of get back into the program. For me also, it's been a particular treat to see some old friends and old faces and some Box of Crowns folks who I know and love. I hope you've had a good day as well. Partly I hope because of the stuff we've taught you, but partly I know because of the people you've had a chance to work with. So here's my request, last action. Knowing that they're doing the same for you, catch the people in the eye that you've had a chance to work with and talk to, and give them a round of applause to say thanks for making it a good day for me. And of course, what I love about this is you get to say, actually I got a standing ovation at this workshop I was at, so that's perfect. Thanks to Matt and Peter for the filming and doing it in an unobtrusive, polite way, so thank you guys. Our work here is done. Thank you everybody, it's nice to work with you.